Yes, blessed love, blessed love. What's going on, guys? What's going on this beautiful Sunday evening? How you all doing? Hope you all doing wonderful. Garden season is here, guys. The garden season is actually here. Spring is finally over, as you can see. Now is summertime. Now is for the heat. I hope you guys get out there before this heat starts and put something in the ground. I hope you guys did that because I'm telling you, the heat is on. And when the heat is on, the plants them struggles a lot. You know, for the people who do container garden, I do a lot of container garden myself, and last year I've learned so much from last year. I've learned a lot. Because what I've realized, man, when you have these plants in these containers and the sun is hot, it's really challenging. Very challenging. So I think I learned last year from a fruit tree I had. I had a tropical fruit tree, which was a sugar apple. And usually, I'm a guy, I don't give plants too much water. But some plants require water, a lot of water. And that plant, I wasn't giving it, I used to wet it like twice a week. And the sun was blazing. And I started to see changes in the leaf. Started to see a slightly. Thanks for hitting the like button, I appreciate it. I started to see a slight change in the leaf. And I realized, no, this is a situation going on. I started adding more water around the fruit tree. And by me adding more water, what I've realized, I've seen the changes. So why I'm saying this is, guys, sometimes you might have a plan not doing well as you believe it should. And sometimes we tend to believe it's something we need to throw around this plant. So we run and we purchase something to throw around this plant, which sometimes it could be water is the problem. Could be not giving it enough water, could be giving it too much water. Because a lot of plants require they rather the water wet their root and drain out. Not every plant like their root to be soaking in water. Why it's important to learn about plants, their requirements. Because the more you know about a plant, the more you're able to give it what it need, and then this same plant gonna give you what you need. So it's good to learn about these plants and pay attention. Any plant you grow, pay attention. Watch the growth. Watch if you water in them, watch how they operate with the water. If you slow down the water, watch how they operate. So that's gonna give you an idea what if this plant require a lot of water or it require a little water. Some plants love their roots to be soaking in water. Some plants do well. Some plants love to be in swamp area where water always at their root. They have access to water as all time. Some plants love that and some plants don't. So container garden is a very challenging way to grow food. But once we understand the requirements of a plan, we can make it. This is why I try to always mention. Try to make the container a little big. Don't make it, just exact the root of the plant. Try to make the container a little bigger than the root, so the soil could be between the container and the root. So when these roots start spreading and the heat start penetrating, remember, the heat penetrates from the side of the container and it penetrates on the surface. So it's a lot of heat these containers taking, a lot of heat. So if you don't know the requirements of what these plants need, you could lose these plants. This is why I always talk about in container, I always talk about adding leaf in the soil. Adding leaf in the soil. Why I talk about adding leaf in the soil? Because leaf have a way of creating a barrier. Meaning it creates sort of sponge. It creates a sponge in the soil. So when you wet that soil, when you wet the plant, it holds and it holds the dampness. So when the sun starts penetrating, you don't want that type of heat that penetrating the container to even touch the tip of the root. Because if it touch the tip of the root, you could damage that root. So now the root ain't gonna go anymore because it's catch up. Now it got to take more time now to develop back from there to continue. That's holding back the plant. And in this time, you don't have time. Especially people who growing in places that get cold. If you're growing in a tropical area, it's different. But when you're growing in places that get cold and your growing season is short, you got to be mindful. Study every plant you grow. So the next year you have more understanding how to deal with this plant. I study my plants, and the reason why I study my plants is because I want production, guys. I don't just want to grow plants and cannot harvest anything from them. I want to, when I grow a plant, I must be able to get something from it. So I study them from seed. This is why I always encourage people to start from seed. So you study your plants from seed till they grow to harvest. I always talk about, hey Urban, how you doing? Sorry, how you doing? Banged, how you doing? Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you guys here. Thank you guys so much. Yes. Thank you guys. Appreciate you all. Yes. So when it's very challenging in container garden, I'm telling you right now, it's very, very challenging. But how you could overcome it, it's by learning. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're planting, whatever you're growing, whether you're doing it indoors, whether you're doing it outdoors, study the process, learn the process, so the next year you understand, how am I going to be dealing with this plant? Because now I've learned that these plants do not require too much water. But container garden, it's always good to have organic matter inside of the container. It's always good to help build up your soil with leaf, because like I mentioned, the leaf is what's gonna create that looseness. Another thing I recommend in container garden, I always, because you got to remember, guys, container garden is something that someone come up with the idea and decide, okay, we could grow in container too, which is an amazing thing. But we all know is in ground. Food grows. We used to grow food. People used to grow food in the ground. Now, if the rain come and soak the earth, this could last for a period of time, especially if the rain is drawing and soak the earth, that could last for a period of time. So even though you in water it, it's still gonna have that moisture because the sun is only penetrating the surface. The sun is not able to reach down to the root. That's why I also require planting deep. The sun is not gonna require to the root. So in ground is different. In container now, you could get rain today. The rain could soak the container today. And the sun come out tomorrow and the following day and just dry up all the water out of that container. You see what I'm coming from? So it's different in ground and container. I think it's more challenging growing in container, but it's important to study. Study what you're doing. Let me give you another idea about watering in container. When what we notice, right? We notice when the rain comes, and it come heavy, what happened? You know what happened? It drop and it runs off. It not soak in the earth. It drop and it runs off. Why? Because it's heavy. Because the rain is dropping so heavy that it ain't getting no time to soak the earth. So what it do? It drop and it runs off. So the earth, you ever saw it rain like crazy, it rain like cat and dog, real heavy. But when you go in your garden and you dig, you realize the soil underneath is still dry because the water didn't get no time to go down. It just runs off. It's the same thing with the container. You got to be, you can't just take the water, just hold a hose in there and just let it. What's going to happen is going to run and it's just going to run right out. You want to throw a little that it could soak. So it's soaking itself in the soil. Then you add a little more and it's soaking itself in the soil. You add a little more and you allow it to soak the soil. So every part of that root of that plant will able to get some type of water or the other. But sometimes we just put it like that and shoo, and the water just run to the side, find itself under the bottom and run out. We want to make sure that the plant is well watered. So we throw a little bit, allow it to soak. We throw a little bit, allow it to soak. We throw a little bit, allow it to soak. So we know that when the sun come, yes, the sun gonna dry out the water, but we know that plant, that moisture, gonna help prevent that high heat that come down in the middle of the day. Sometimes also, guys, it's good to, like if you have a shaded area in your garden, because some of these plants, direct heat is not easy. Direct heat will definitely damage your plants. So, you see, like to the back there, I have some trees, and under those trees, I have like young fruit trees that I'm growing from seed. The young ones. No, the next thing again, when we're growing in container. Hey Shelly in the south, how you doing? Good evening, how you doing? Thank you for being here. Yes, young plants. And these are things I experience, guys. What I'm telling you here is from my experience. So what I'm saying is you could learn from your experience wherever zone you at. You could learn from your experience as well. So a young fruit tree, it could be a tropical plant. It doesn't matter. Some I what I use I'm doing well here for so all right, thank you for being here. Appreciate you here. Yes. When we say tropical, sometimes we might say, okay, it's a tropical plant, so it like a lot of sunlight. You see what I'm coming from? It's a tropical plant, so it have to be direct in the sun. Well, if the plant is a baby plant, if it's a young plant, you really don't want to put it direct in the sun because that type of heat, it ain't ready for that type of heat. So what you do, you put it in a shaded area. The following year, the following year, you might say, all right, let me dry it more in the sun, because now it start to get more developed. But a baby plant, like for instance, I have some young sweet lemon. Shell in the South say, yeah, you are right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have some sweet lemon that I'm actually growing from seed. I purchase like two, three of them, and I take the seeds them out maybe in like November, December last year. I take the seeds out and I put them in a tissue paper, wet the tissue paper, wrap it up, put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in a dark area. And they germinate, and I'm growing them right at this moment. I was testing them out. How tall, okay, just say, how tall is your bell pepper tree so far? Well, some of them almost 4 feet tall, and some, yes, most of them almost 4 feet tall. They all over 3 feet. And we in, area now, you doing? We in June right now, so we know we're gonna get some 8 foot bell pepper tree this year, because we in June, we're not even in summer yet, but some of them already 4, almost 4 feet, some of them 3 feet plus growing. So right at this moment, I'll say 3 feet plus. My bell pepper tree, them growing right at this moment. Yes, guys, I grow bell pepper tree 8 feet tall. All right, yes. So the lemon tree, guys, don't forget to hit that like button. I appreciate it. Tap that like button. If you're on the cellular phone, double tap the screen, hit that like button. All right, appreciate it. Are they a special variety or something? How do you get them that tall? Well, I show a lot of videos how to grow them. If you follow my channel right now, I even upload a video today showing how the progress of the bell pepper them. The thing is, a lot of people don't understand. I don't think it's a special variety. What happened is, I've been growing these type of bell pepper for a while now, the same type. Every year I harvest and I reset their seed. So I've been growing them for a long time now. But the thing is, I don't think it's a special variety. I think is how I grow them. Usually, my garden, I don't use no chemical, I don't use nothing from the store in my garden. All I use is the leaf, the weeds that grow up in my garden. Then sometime I might see a rotten log, I might take it and bury it in the soil. That's all I do. So it's an organic garden. So every year you keep adding that same style in your garden, it's getting better. it's actually getting better. So the more you add the organic matter, your soil getting better, a lot of earthworms entering into your soil, then you start to see a lot of changes. So where I always tell people, focus on building your soil natural. Build it natural. So when you build your soil natural, what happens? It's continue getting better and better. Every year it's getting better. But sometimes we add some things to our soil, and what it do, it messed up our soil. But if you add in natural stuff to your soil, it's gonna get better, better, richer, better. And that's basically what I do. The next thing I tell you again, you plant them about 12 inches deep. You plant your pepper about 12 inches deep. When you look down in the hole, you're going to see the small pepper down in the hole. While they're growing, you just pull soil around them. While they're growing, you just pull, because you want their root to anchor in the soil. You want their root to be down in there, because could you imagine you plant a pepper tree 6 inches deep and the pepper tree end up 8 feet tall? It's going to break out. It's going to fall to the ground. So you want to plant them deep, 10 inches to 12 inches deep. So their root going to anchor in the soil, and that's where they're going to be getting the nutrients under the soil. So just continue growing your stuff natural, continue adding natural organic matter to your soil, continue making your own compost tea, making your own compost. You can pull the weeds out of your garden, throw them in a pile, allow them to break down, and when they break down, you bring it back in the garden and throw them back in your raised bed, wherever. Once you continue doing that, you're gonna start to see magic in your garden. You're gonna start to see your plants them growing and just producing, looking healthy, because what you did, you build your soil natural. And this come with a lot of patience and delication. Sometimes we don't have no patience, and we run to the store and we grab stuff that we see somebody might be using. Listen me guys, you can use what you have around you and build a natural garden and a healthy garden, producing. All right, you producing. My bell pepper them do not stop produce. Once they start produce, they produce go right down to the frost. So this is what I'm saying. Learn about the plants. Every year you're supposed to learn something about what you're growing. So the following year, you know what to do and what not to do. It's important to know if a plant require a lot of water, and if it don't. This is very important, because the thing is, my goal is, guys, it's about growing and able to have food in abundance, growing and able to harvest, not just growing because I can grow. So it's important. But I'm gonna go back to the lemon tree I was talking about. Sorry for that, guys. Sorry for that. Yes, I'm gonna go back to the lemon tree now, right? The lemon tree is, I started from seed, and what happened is I was testing them, and testing them is very important. So the lemon tree, I started from seed in like November, December. Okay, organic garden are the best. The more you diverse, the better. Exactly, Shelly, that's so true. Building a good soil take time. Definitely, definitely, building a good soil take time, and that's what we got to have: patience and dedication and discipline. Because sometimes you could start out telling yourself, okay, I'm gonna grow organic. Then you watching someone, you might watching a video on YouTube, and you see someone telling you about product, and out of the blues, it click. Next thing you go on and buy this product. You saw this person, and that just changed your course. So you have to be patient, discipline. You have to have that, because many people tells me a lot about, oh, you should use this and you should use that, and if I'm not strong enough, you know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna fall for that trick. I'm gonna fall for the trap. You cannot. You got to be disciplined. I'm telling you, building your soil take time. As Shelley in the South said, building your soil, it takes a lot of time. But when you get it right, I'm telling you, once you get it right, by being disciplined, having patience, you're gonna love it. Because anything you plant gonna grow. Anything you plant gonna produce. And this is what it's all about. It's about growing and producing. So yes, the lemon plants them I had some of them in the sun, and I have some of them under the tree. And what I noticed, citrus green has destroyed most of my citrus plants. I will take a break from purchasing any more citrus. You know, I'm doing seed. The truth is, I'm doing seed. I'm doing a lot of seed now. Sometimes we might say, oh, it's too long. It's too long for me to wait for production. Well, guess what? Sometimes you buy a fruit tree. Sometimes you buy a fruit tree and you plant it, and you still gotta wait 3 4 years before you get any fruit from it. You see what I'm coming from? So then why not? Because here what happens, here what does happen sometimes. You might buy a fruit tree that come from places like Florida, right? But guess what? You bring it into an area now where dealing with cold weather. This fruit, have to adjust itself from the sunny tropical weather into a different climate. Some of them could end up take 3 4 years before them produce. It's the same thing with the seed. The seed might take 3 4 years before it produce. But at the end of the day, you bring it up in your zone, and it's accustomed to the climate, so it might just do better. So my thing is, I'm not telling nobody not to buy fruit trees and grow fruit. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I want to see something different for myself, because I accustomed see fruit trees grow from seed and germinate and grow until they produce. So grafting is not a bad thing because you're able to get fruits earlier. But why not try seed too? So the fruit trees, them, the citrus trees, them I have a sweet lemon. It's a sweet lemon. Is not why I believe why they call it sweet lemon is because it's not that sour. You're not getting the sour taste. So I guess that's why they call it sweet lemon. But I have them some in the sun, some in the cool air. And them that I had in the sun was not growing for nothing. But them that I had in the cool shade under the tree was doing so well. So I say, you know what? Let me remove them from in the direct sun and put them under the tree. From the time I did that, they start growing. So these are things we got to pay attention to. And it happened with other plants too. Some of them like direct, like the pepper, the okra. These type of plants love direct sun. You could have them in the sun and the sun beating them all day and they're okay. But there's other plants who don't we don't like that. So no, you got to know the difference. In your zone, you got to know the difference because it's in your zone you growing. So if you're growing in your zone, you have to know what works for you. All right? But I'm enjoying growing fruit trees from seed. I'm enjoying it. I'm thinking is doing really well. Give me a minute there, guys. This is one right here, guys. This is grapes. I'm growing these grapes from seed. You see how beautiful and healthy they're growing? I know that they're not going to be ready to produce anytime soon. But I'm taking the chance. You see what I'm coming from? This is an apple tree that growing from seed. And look how this apple tree is growing. You see? It ain't growing long and it ain't growing just like one stalk. It pushing limbs everywhere. You see? And this one is actually growing from seed. This is an apple tree. This one is growing 2 years now. This one is 2 years now. So who knows? Maybe the next 2 years, this might be where it's producing. This grape is the same thing. 2 years, and look how well it's doing. Look how it's growing nice. This is actually from seed. So for what I'm seeing, it worth it. It worth it trying to grow from seed. It might take a little more time, but at the end of the day, you're growing them in your zone. And when you grow them in your zone, your plant's gonna adjust and it might just grow better. Who knows? Okay, let me see. Shelly knows out. I've noticed that seed citrus is less affected by the you know what? You might have a point there. You might have a solid point there. And you know what? Let me say this too. I don't know if you guys noticed this as well. Allegedly, someone told me. I'm saying allegedly that they believe that the fruit you ever buy a fruit tree, and when you purchase, thank you, that's beautiful, thank you. And when you purchase the fruit tree have on flowers, right? You purchase the fruit tree and the fruit tree have on flowers. You tell yourself, okay, this fruit tree gonna be producing. So you plant the fruit tree and you tell yourself next year you might be able to get fruit. And 3 years after, that fruit tree still ain't produce anything. But when you purchase it, it had on flowers. Allegedly, I'm gonna say allegedly, someone said they believe that they put something around the plant to make it push flowers, and these things you can't say, you can't doubt. There's a lot of things you can't doubt these days, but it's allegedly they put something around to flowers, so when you see the flowers you believe, okay, this is already flowers in, so this is a good plant for me to buy. Then when you buy it 3 4 years after, it's still not producing anything. So I'm gonna take the time and grow from seed and be patient. All right, I'm gonna show you another plant. Okay, this is an avocado plant. This one is like over 4 feet tall. This one is 2 years old. This one here. All right, and it's doing pretty well. So what I'm saying is, you might be surprised how fast these things might produce. We might believe that, okay, Shelly from the South said that the environment that it was grown in is different from what exactly. Ex- That's the next thing too. That's the next thing too. So you see, from moving to one environment to the other can create something that your fruit tree might stay 3, 4 years before it produces. This is an healthy avocado tree that I'm actually growing from seed. And there's a lot more I'm growing. Let me see the next one. Hold on. This is another avocado tree that I'm actually growing from seed. Do you see how they're growing? Let me see if you could see this one. They're growing so nice. Watch. This one, it have a branch come up here. It have a branch come here. It have a branch coming here. So it starts spreading. It starts spreading. And the body is getting thick. The body is getting thick. So, yes, if you notice up here again, it coming like that. So they start spreading out their cell. So, and these are 2 years. This one is two, all of them the same one. These are the big one. You know the big avocado? Not the small little one. These are big one that I grow from seed. So I'm telling you, patient. I'm even growing peach from seed. I'm growing pear from seed. I'm growing apple from seed. I'm growing lemon from seed. We might be just surprised. We get accustomed to the, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not saying anything bad about grafting, because grafting help a lot. Grafting helps a lot. So I'm not going to tell you not to buy graft. No, I'm not going to tell you that. What I'm saying is, growing from seed sometimes, you could try it. This is another avocado again, growing from seed. This is the next one. So you see, in they look as health, these are really healthy plants that's growing. This one, you have another stem, this one growing up in the air, and then you have this one right here branching off. I can graft these, but I don't want to graft them. I just want to allow them. I have, it's a lot of them I have. Let me show you a next one. This is the next one. I have like, the truth is I have like 15 of them. just growing. And I don't want to graft them. I just want them to grow. What I'm gonna do next year, what I'm gonna do next year, I'm gonna put them in bigger pots. I'm gonna allow them to grow this year, and I'm gonna put them in bigger pots. Well, a lot of us don't understand. These leaf, the young leaf, you could use them in salad. So even though you're growing them, you could feed from them at the same time. I'm gonna show you. These young leaf are tender. Tender leaves. Some people eat them in salad. Some people dry them and blend them up. And when they cook in, they might shake some in the food. These things carry a lot of benefit. So you could be growing it and you feed in from the leaf until one day you might just get lucky and see some fruits on them. This is my lemon, sweet lemon. This is my sweet lemon. Yes. So what I'm saying, guys, is getting dark now. Thank you all for coming out. Really appreciate you all joining me. Let me see. Shirley from the south say, you are right, but we live in a fast-paced world where we want things now and don't want to wait. However, growing from seed is best because the trees are much stronger and more. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So you're right. We living in a world that we need things overnight. But meanwhile, nothing. You could need things overnight, but you could also try to set something from seeds. You see what I'm saying? So, because you know what? I'm gonna show. Let me see if I can show you something here. Let me see if I can show you something here. Okay, let me see if I can show you something. You see this? This was a graft mango, and I don't know if you guys could see, but this year was a graft mango. And you know what I did? I didn't like how it was growing, and what I did, I cut off the graft and just leave it there because I just didn't like how it was growing. And when I cut off the top, what I saw seven, seven sprang, just shoot right up from the original root itself. So I cut off the graft, and now it's set from the original root, the plant itself. It push up seven from that. So I'm gonna show you a next plant again. Let me show you a next one with that same thing. Okay, this one is a June plum. This was the same thing. It was a graft June plum, and I just didn't like the growth of the plant. What I did, I cut off the graft from it, and what happened now? It starts producing, watch. So it producing from the original plant itself and not the graft. I cut off the graft. Now it starts to grow over different. And the thing is, I cut the graft this year, all year up in the spring. I cut the graft and it now it's coming from the plant itself down to the bottom down here. It's hard for you guys to see, but if you notice here, it's producing. You see, it producing, and now it's producing from the original plant itself. So yes, guys, and these are more avocado plants right there. I'm growing them from seed, and they're doing pretty well. So all these tender leaf, you could pick off the tender leaf them, and you could put them in your salad. You see? So container garden, guys, it's a beautiful way to garden. I saw that too. When the grass die, I think it's important for us to pay attention to what we're doing. This is how we're gonna get better in what we're doing. This is how we gonna be more successful in what we're doing. But I'm not gonna knock grafting, because a lot of people eat from grafting. So I'm not gonna say it's not a good thing. I will not say that. All I'm saying is we could also try grow from seed as well. And if you listen to a lot of people today, a lot of people gonna tell you growing from seed we're gonna happen, and all kind of different excuse. But I think growing from seed is a good idea. I think so, because that's what I'm doing. I'm growing a lot of plants from seeds. Lemon, sweet lemon, peach, plum, avocado, grapes, different type of grapes. I'm growing from seed. And the good thing about it is, like I said, gardening is about patience and dedication. Patience and dedication. It's not an overnight process. It's a process where you learn, and it's a process where you get better. And you have to have an open mind. You cannot have a closed mind into gardening, because you're not going to learn anything. All right? Learn from your experience. Learn from your mistake. Some people say mistake. I don't really see it as a mistake. I see it from your experience. You see? Learn from your experience in gardening. If you try something this year and it didn't work, you try something different the next year. If you're growing in this area and you realize the plants them didn't do too well, you switch them around. Put them in another area. This is what we do. This is how we get better. This is how we learn. And like I keep saying, if you build your soil natural, you wouldn't have that much of a problem. All you do, you maintain it naturally. And what you're gonna do, you're gonna end up build a beautiful soil that's gonna take you a long way. But if you add in these type of stuff to your soil, who knows what could happen. All right. So I just want to say thank you all for coming out tonight. Okay, let me see. Beverly, going to try. Can you make a video how to start a fruit tree seed? Yes, I definitely will. And I do have a few videos, but yes, I'm gonna definitely do a video just for you, Beverly. All right, I'm gonna do so make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit the notification bell, so when I upload these videos you can get the videos. I also want you guys to know I'm on a verge of growing 8-foot bell pepper trees as usual. So Please check out my videos then, because I'm uploading all the update on the growth. So you will see all the update on the growth of these bell peppers. So yes, thank you, Shelly from the South. You have a blessed night too. All right, guys. So you guys have a blessed night. You guys enjoy, and happy gardening to each one. Thank you all for coming on. I appreciate each and every one of you. Peace and love. All right. Thank you all.